This is Jeremy Zwinger with the Rice Trader, just summarizing the April 22nd TRT report. It goes without saying we wish everybody a happy Easter holiday for those of you throughout the world. I know many people will be off, especially in the Philippines and other places in the U.S. today and Monday. So this will be just kind of a summary, especially with the U.S. being on holiday. With that, what are the key points for this week when we look at the overall picture? Let's start with the Philippines. The Philippines remains a very, very interesting place. As we're moving into this key time, you're having a lot of people move in there. Stocks starting to deliver in hopes of the transition with the new regime of open trade there. This has definitely helped a lot of the suppliers: Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Myanmar. It's very interesting to see how this unfolds. And again, a key reason why we're having the World Conference in the Philippines is just to highlight this world-changing activity with the Philippines opening to trade. Outside of that, and what else are we seeing? Prices were very mixed this week. In fact, you're down in the U.S. marginally, just $5, up $3 in Thai, up $5 in Vietnam, up a little bit in Pakistan, and then down in India as well. So a very odd mixed week, no clear trend, kind of range-bound prices in a lot of ways. There was really no big news, no Iraqi tender, no big known trades. So it's a lot of the same things we've talked about over time, a lot of the same transactions, a lot of the same activity going on. And of course, this is coming off a lot of New Year's celebrations and a lot of other celebrations throughout Thailand and other key places. So, it's a bit of a holiday week, it just seems. Not a lot of activity, not a lot to talk about, and more of a week to just pause and really get a feel for this market. So on that, I'm going to share my screen here and just give you kind of some quick reviews of my thoughts. As we've already said, prices are very range bound this week. Not a lot happening. I'm going to run to my favorite table, which is increasingly bringing me a concern. It just highlights the trade, and let's just increase the size here a little bit. Highlights the trade and just the big issue going on as we go from unofficial to official data, and this is unofficial data. You're definitely seeing a major downtrend in the overall grain shipments, and especially in rice. In fact, we show about an 11% decline in the first quarter in a few weeks. This is a major issue, and you're seeing it in these places needing demand. Thailand being off 13%, India being off 19%, Vietnam being off a massive 12.5%. You can see it. I think a lot of their shipments with the cheaper prices that occurred probably hit in the later April and May cycle, and you definitely have seen it actually in the April cycle with some shipments definitely increasing as of late, and this week actually being up 7.32%. The U.S. is even worse. We're showing a 17% decline based upon estimations. This is a major deal, and of course we go through the U.S. in our key sections this week. As we've also stated, week in, week out, we go through once a month, and we have the key topics we talk about, and this would be Vietnam's week and the U.S.'s week where we show official data. We also have a very, very extensive look at Africa in section 10 for those of you to look at. So in just that, let's just look a little bit on the quick graph of Vietnam. We've already shown it. You're not having a great year through the first quarter, and these are officials through February. Very, very light trade. And why it's a concern is that you definitely need to have a faster trade with the level of crops. This is definitely affecting the overall situation. And it's pretty universal when you look and you see what's up and what's down. Definitely a downswing in trade to Asia, but a bit of an upswing when you get to Africa. So, some very key things going on in Vietnam. And you can just see here too, as you watch the qualities, you're very much off on the lower qualities, and especially the medium quality. Fragrant rice is actually up on the first 2 months of the year. And glutinous is just massively off right now, as you can see. So that's kind of the trend. A bit of good trade in some of the higher quality 5% rice, but the glutinous is way off. So Um, anyway, with that, there was also other key things going on, very varied graphs. I also, what I say most week is I continue to highlight the summaries that we do in the top. There's a lot of players that like to gloss over the data and don't talk about things. I've said before, some of the analytical things I've seen are almost like newspapers, like the Wall Street Journal, that are our type of examples versus something at a supermarket where you pick up a National Enquirer type magazine. They may look nice, but they really don't have the depth of facts, the depth of analysis that our team is putting together. So definitely high amount of key things going on. And let's just kind of move to the U.S. The U.S. is actually one of the more interesting things in this slow week. We showed this week last week. You're just seeing next year is going to have a massive increase in stocks. When we've gone through the official data, we show that it's even worse in the demand that we had thought. You're seeing official data show something like a 20% decline through the first quarter. And so the U.S. is just going through a lot of issues. It's interesting, especially with slow global trade and other things happening. It really will come down to what happens with the crop, what happens overall with this wetness. It seems to be if the crop is getting put in, it's only 9% behind normal, only actually 4% behind last year. And so we're definitely moving into the point where the U.S. crop will be put in. It should be rather large. At the lower end, the most we've heard is a 5% decrease. Some still believe it'll be up on the year. So it's definitely interesting to see what's happening in these markets, the trends, and that the U.S. is definitely struggling. And there's so many questions in the U.S. We just put some down this week. When is Iraq going to buy? What is the crop? How will the U.S. get more demand so these massive stocks won't be built? Because that number is just really based upon a slight increase in demand, a 9 million metric ton, million hundredweight reduction in the crop. There's just a lot of questions if that can even occur, and where could the U.S. get more demand not to build stocks? And can they compete with Asian values, which seems unlikely? There also remains the China question. Will China buy U.S. rice? So, in a slow week, those are some of the things we see. There's a great section below again on Africa. There's just a lot of stuff going on, this week in the market. And so, I think it's a key thing when we look at this and we look at what's going on overall. I think I'll keep it a little shorter this week, it being a holiday. Those are really all the thoughts. I think the major supplies in the market are really affecting things. I think the high global supplies are definitely affecting the futures market. I think it's a difficult time where demand's going to be searched for. I don't think it's as simple as other years where we started out strong and you could make it up. Actually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show one thing just to invite you. Of course, as I've already said, the World Conference we planned very early this year to give you guys plenty of opportunity to come to the Philippines and to plan. We're going to have a huge increase in sponsorship the way it looks. We've had great interest early on. We're also going to be throwing a great event for our friends in the U.S. It's going to be basically August 1st and 2nd. It's going to be in Sacramento. We're actually having a rice beer contest that highlights a lot of this. It'll be on rice beer, and also we choose who chooses the world's best rice at this contest by picking the Lord of Rice. I think a lot of countries should be sending chefs trying to get involved in this. It's going to be a great time. It should be a lot of fun with 25 of the best brewers in the area, and each of them are going to bring a rice beer as well. So with that, I just will wish you guys all again a great holiday. I look forward to talking to you next week. And with that, this is Jeremy Zwinger signing off.